Paramount Pictures is currently filming a major motion picture in North Georgia called
Very interesting things which you'll see once you check out that movie.
We generally work on a few different types of projects. Obviously, we do a lot of short films.
Michael, how did you get started in filmmaking?
A very large part of the success of any project.
And I started my filmmaking career actually on a cruise ship making short films.
Wow. I'm the executive producer to our new feature film, The Common Denominator.
Tell us a little bit about your character in the film.
She's really upset from the beginning, from the get-go.
Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, basically, I somehow started acting in 1992.
Hello, I'm Priyanka Karan, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Ruel Hollywood, a show that takes an in-depth look at all aspects of the movie industry from pre-production to post. On today's episode, Maricela Soto will talk to filmmaker Donald Farmer and his leading actress Jackey Hall about their feature film, Dorm of the Dead. But first, I will sit down with Pastor Teresa Jordan and Minister Regina Ragsdale of Triune Productions to talk about their many stage plays and upcoming feature film, Sisters. Hey everyone, I'm Priyanka, and today on the set with us we have Pastor Teresa Jordan and Minister Regina Ragsdale. So thank you so much for coming on the show with us.
Thank you for having us.
So I just wanted to start off with asking you about a little bit about your background and kind of how you got involved in these stage plays.
Well, originally it started with high school performances and working behind the scenes in high school. In 1992, I was in Jacksonville, North Carolina, and a church there, and they asked me to start working with the youth department. And that was one of the things that I found was a little creative in keeping the youth interested in things in the church, was writing different little scripts for them. And it turned from that to a community choir and acting troupe of 175 people.
Wow.
From that to stage plays that are traveling nationally, to moving to Atlanta, and here we are with 5 shows that are up and running right now.
So it progressively got much larger.
It did, but it started with a small community group at my church in Jacksonville, North Carolina.
So where would this whole idea of this Triune Ministry, so where did that start from Jacksonville?
It did.
It
did. Triune is a derivative of the word Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. And so that's the way the Lord gave me as far as our title for our company and our ministry was Triune Ministries. And basically what we are is a performing arts ministry. We don't have a church building where we meet every Sunday and have service. We tour nationally and spread the gospel through performing arts.
So has it been kind of a very interesting journey for you, because this is obviously a very new medium, you know, in terms of it's preaching, but it's preaching in almost in a theatrical and so much creative way. So is that where you felt like this is like your calling and this is kind of your little way of spreading the message?
Absolutely, absolutely. That is the only way for me. I am not a pulpit preacher, so I can if I have to, but that's definitely binding me up. I am much freer to share what God has to say through His Word when I write it and script it, cast it, and let the performers get up and share it in a way that everybody can relate. There's characters in the play that everybody can relate to. It's funny, then there's you can see your auntie in the play, you can see your cousin, mom, dad, your best friend, next door neighbor. The characters are very realistic. The stories are very real, and so people can relate to it. But at the same time, there's the spiritual twist to it that gives everybody the answer to whatever problem or the answer to whatever tribulation we have presented on the stage.
Okay, so that's kind of, so with that idea, what about you, Gina? How did you kind of get involved, and how did this start out for you?
Well, I'm similar to her. I've started writing. I also write, and I did scripts at my church and plays and things like that. But then I just felt like I had to go outside of the church walls, but I didn't know where to go. And so, of course, a lot of people in my church knew that I did a lot of things, and so they said, you ought to go outside. And I was like, okay. And so another church member introduced me to Triune, and I've been with Triune about 5 years this year.
Wow.
So I've been one of those steady rocks.
Thank God.
I see. So are there some other people that you collaborate with?
There's a few. It's really a family-oriented ministry. My sister, Prophetess Demetra Jordan, is our merchandising and stage managing staff. She also helps with some of the directing. My mother, Dolores Jordan, is our administrator, office manager, mother when everybody's upset. When we're hungry, she makes sure we're fed. She sits on the door and takes tickets. You know, my niece and my nephew, Jordan and Aisha, they're in the shows. They help with tickets. They help with costuming. They break the set down and put it up. So
oh, wow.
It's really a family affair. It really is. We do have a few other people that work with us behind the scenes and as far as the staff is concerned. But for the most part, our foundation is our family.
So speaking of then your foundation being the family, so is it kind of, do you think by going and doing, doing these stage plays and kind of bring this, it's kind of brought you guys together more, closer as a family too, because it's like it's like one big family kind of thing on.
I was out here pioneering alone. My family was in Texas, and my sister said God spoke to her and said I need to go and come out here and help, and I really needed the help because it had started to grow and really it got a bit overwhelming. So she came out, and then her kids came to help, and then Grandma just got here this past year. So
oh wow,
yeah. So they all kind of just shifted to Atlanta to help. So yeah, absolutely, it's brought us closer because before that I was out abroad and traveling, and they were all in Texas, just in the wings, going, oh well, wonderful, we're glad you're being successful, But now
they're an active part.
Oh yeah,
pretty
absolutely,
much
and it's wonderful.
So before we go any further, let's just catch a glimpse of their promo.
Where you going, girl? Oh, I was just going to the store for my mama. That's right, my mama.
What kind of store you going to in the middle of the night? Wait a minute. Ain't even no store open at this hour.
Miss Ruth Ann, I'm chilling, okay? So you can go on and do whatever it is you were already doing.
You smart enough with me, girl? Okay. We'll see what Dawg did have to say about your little trip to the store.
Don't bother my mama.
I'm gonna tell her. I'm gonna tell her. Ooh,
my mama knows.
I'm gonna tell her all of it.
Tell me, how does a church girl like yourself wind up in a club drinking scotch on the rocks and the devil at that?
Well, haven't you heard?
No.
That's what happens to church girls. Good girls, at least. And as for the church thing,
all right.
I got that down pretty good. Hallelujah!
Okay.
Thank you!
All right. Okay.
Somebody say amen.
Okay, amen. Amen. Come on now.
Thank you. Oh, no, he didn't.
Oh, is that a problem?
No. It's all right. Yes, indeed.
Okay.
That's all right. You know what? Because I have no dealings with him.
Good.
None at all. He just missing out on a good thing.
All right, all right. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah.
What you say, baby?
Girl, you something else. I ain't been able to get my mind off you ever since that night at the concert. Really? Yeah, I got to have you all to myself, baby. All to myself.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about, I know that you have this upcoming feature that you guys are talking about, The Sisters.
Well, Sisters is, we just debuted the stage play with our new cast.
Okay.
They did an awesome job. They had
you want to tell us a little bit about it, maybe?
Well, you know what, I will say this. It is the faith-based or Christian version of Dreamgirls.
Oh,
Let me
interesting.
put it like that. It's the storyline is different, but the concept is the same. It's a singing group, 4 sisters who desired to be gospel recording artists, and the ups and the downs of trying to be successful at that in the music business, being female, being young, being gospel artists, you know, because most people think, oh, well, if you're doing Christian work, then it's just a piece of cake, and no, it's just as hard
as anything else,
as anything else. And so the ups and downs of the music industry as they saw it and had to experience it, and still trying to hold on to moral values that their mother and father taught them, and trying to have the fame and fortune, that good versus evil, the dark versus the light.
Constant battle.
And they had their share of trials and tribulations, but they triumphed in the end.
Right. Okay, sounds very interesting.
Yeah, and that's the one that everybody's approaching us now about making the movie for. So we're looking into that. We have the promoter looking to see exactly what it would take to actually put it on film, because we've gotten a lot of
response.
People said that should be a movie.
I mean, it sounds like it. It definitely does sound like something that I would want to go watch.
Yeah.
So before we leave, why don't you tell us a little bit about your up and coming event and kind of where people can contact you and get some more information about the ministry, and just tell us a little bit.
Absolutely. We're debuting our dance show, so we're really excited about it. It's called Dance the Night Away. It debuts in College Park, Georgia, on Mother's Day. And then it starts to go out after that. But it's one of our best dance musicals that we've done yet. So anybody interested, they can reach us at triuneministries.org. They can email us at talentsearch@ureach.com. They can call us at 877-823-1362 or 678-760-4799. And that will connect them to anything they need to know about Triune Ministries.
Okay, great. Well, I just wanted to thank you guys again for coming on the show, and I really enjoyed speaking with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We enjoyed it.
For more information, log on to our website at www.ruelhollywood.com. Up next, Maricela Soto and her interview with Donald Farmer and Jackey Hall about their feature film, Dorm of the Dead.
Hello, I'm Maricela Soto, and I'm here today with veteran filmmaker Donald Farmer, the director of Dorm of the Dead. How are you doing, Donald?
Well, I'm great.
Pleasure to have you. So excited.
Oh, well, I'm glad to be here.
Looking forward to learning more about how you do what you do.
Oh, well, I'm here to answer all your questions.
Okay, so I'm going to begin by asking, how did you get involved in filmmaking?
Well, in the early 80s, because I started my first film like in '86, so a few years before that I'd been a magazine writer, and I'd been covering movies for different magazines like Fangoria, and I was on the set of Sam Raimi's Evil Dead 2 and George Romero's Day of the Dead and John Carpenter's Starman, and Drew Barrymore movie she did for Stephen King called Cat's Eye. And so watching all these movies on the set, watching them all being made and getting to interview the directors and the stars, it got me really interested in the filmmaking process. And so after doing this for a while, I started thinking, God, I want to do this myself. You know, I've been interviewing all these other people and watching them make movies. Now I want to do it. You know, so what I did was I found through my friends I made on the set of Day of the Dead, the George Romero movie, I found one of the makeup crew members who was looking for work after that film ended, and so I said, what if I hired you to do gory makeup effects for a movie I'll do? I figure if I have somebody who worked for George Romero who's going to be that good, he'll make my movie look good.
Right.
And so we did that, and we made our first movie, Demon Queen, with him. And we, of course, that movie had a lot of mistakes in it that we learned the hard way, because that was trying to make an entire movie in 3 days, which is definitely something you should not do. But but fortunately, thanks to him, the one good thing the movie had going for it was it did have good gory effects. So.
Okay, got you. So you've done about maybe 20 films since the 80s. How would you say filmmaking has changed since then?
Well, quite a lot. I mean, the most obvious way it's changed is in the equipment, because when I started out, you know, you had options of if you were going to shoot in film, you know, you're either going to shoot 16 millimeter or 35 millimeter, and if you're going to shoot in video, then the technology was really primitive, because there was 3/4 inch tape, which really looked awful then, and it looks worse now, or maybe beta, which is better, or 1 inch. But nowadays, the high definition systems and the 24p, they look so great, and the computer technology for film looking digital stuff, you can shoot on digital. Like we just shot a movie And we shot the whole thing digital, but we film looked it, and it looks exactly like we shot it on 16mm, and we've sold it to TV in several countries. It was just on TV in Canada a few weeks ago, and it looks, you know, people look at it, they swear we shot it on film, and we're not going to tell them any different.
Right, let them think
So there's no need to go through all the trouble, because shooting on film, you know, I don't really want to go back to doing that because that's a pain in the neck, because film is really expensive. You're not only paying for the film stock, you're paying for processing, then you got to transfer it, you got to pay for synchronizing the picture and the sound. And then if you got actresses who are blowing their takes and blowing their lines, every time you go take 9, take 10, take 11, well, I mean, you're just spending a fortune.
Right.
Whereas if you're shooting digital, I mean, you can even erase over the bad takes. And, I mean, digital stock is just super dirt cheap, so there's no comparison. I mean, when you're shooting digital, if you have to do 100 takes on a scene, it's no problem because the stock is so cheap. But when you're doing it on film, you're just sweating every time an actress or actor blows a take. You are just feeling it in the wallet. You know, it drives me up the wall. So I don't want to go back to
the art of directing has changed at all?
Well, the art of directing is just something you learn through experience and through doing. You know, you can learn so much from film school, but there's nothing like just actually getting out and doing it. And so I think for the case of every director, the evolution comes from your own personal experience and your own just getting out and doing it. That's where the evolution comes, and it's going to be different from every person based on their own individual experience. So from my experience, the best way to have a fast learning curve in filmmaking is just to get as much experience as you can. That's why when I'm not making my own movies, I like to visit other people's sets, observe as much as I can. Before I ever made my first movie, I had been on the sets of lots of, you know, big movies, watching how, you know, some directors that I was big fans with worked, and getting to observe their, you know, action firsthand on the set. And so, you know, that was as good as, that was even better than going to a film school, because a film school is not going to give you a front row seat watching Sam Raimi work all day. So, so I, you know, did like that, and then before I did my own movie, I had a pretty good foundation in what was involved in doing a film, what was involved in putting together a crew. I had a basic understanding of distribution, and then as I do every new film, I learn more and more, and then I network with other filmmakers on the internet, picking their brains. When I'm talking to other filmmakers, on one level I may be having a friendly conversation with them, but on the other level, anytime I talk to another filmmaker, it's always picking their brains, trying to find out what do they know that I don't know. That's what I'm constantly trying to do, because you're constantly trying to learn.
Experience,
The education, you know, really never stops.
Exactly. So tell us about your new film, Dorm of the Dead.
Yeah, we shot that last year, and it's out, and it stars Tiffany Shepis, who's, like I said, one of the leading scream queens. In fact, today's issue of USA Today has a profile of her. They singled her out as one of the half-dozen top scream queens in the country. And it also has Jackey Hall, who you're going to be talking to later.
Right.
And we filmed that half in Los Angeles and half in Tennessee. And it's a really simple story about a girls' dormitory that gets overrun by zombies. And then set against that background is sort of a class feud between these dueling girls on a campus. There's these two girls who are the goth girls, and then there's also the girl who's like the sort of like the homecoming queen type, played by Jackey. She's the mean girl, and she hates those goth girls, and she'll do anything she can to get at them. She thinks that she gets the idea that they've insulted her when they really haven't, but she gets the idea that they have ridiculed her in front of all the students. So she just goes to ridiculous lengths to get revenge against them, and she ends up, you know, deciding she wants to turn one of them over to the zombies.
That's so funny.
So that's little Jackey. Jackey's very nasty in this movie.
Right, yeah. Sounds like it. Sounds like she's the mean girl.
Yeah, sweet in real life, but mean in this movie. Mean.
Evil. So you told us some of the people who are participating on scene. Is there anybody that you want to mention who's working maybe behind the scene on the project?
Yeah, we have some people this movie was produced by Jackie Napoli, a Los Angeles producer, and she's known to horror fans mainly because she co-produced a famous Linnea Quigley movie called Creepazoids, which is sort of like a cult favorite from the 80s. And then we have everybody in horror, you know, knows about trauma films, and they have a new movie out called Zombiegeddon, and so we were able to get the director of Zombiegeddon to work on this movie and do all of our makeup effects.
Well, I'm sure we're all dying to see Dorm of the Dead. Let's take a look at that scene real quick.
If you must.
Yes.
You wanna know what I did last night?
What did you do last night? You know that girl, Sarah?
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about. What about her?
Well, I snuck in her room and poured zombie blood down her throat.
Zombie blood?
Yeah, zombie blood. You want to know why?
Yeah. Why?
You want to know why?
Yes. Humor me, why?
Because she laughed at me in front of the entire class, and nobody laughs at Claire. Nobody.
So you go to your friend's place and pour zombie blood down her throat?
What, you don't believe me?
No.
So what would you do if I were to sneak into your room one night and pour zombie blood down your throat?
I don't know if I'd mind you being in my room, but come on, zombie blood.
You still don't believe me? If you don't believe me, I'm going to find somebody else that will believe me.
Go for it.
Yes.
Well, have fun.
I am. Thank you, and I will. Can't believe that guy. Thinks I'm a liar. I'm going to show him. I'm going to show all of them. Oh, look. There's little Miss Sarah. What's the matter, Sarah? Did you drink something that disagreed with you? Something like, I don't know, zombie blood? What's the matter, Sarah? You're not laughing. What, do zombies not have a sense of humor? Anyways, it looks like you've had a pretty rough night. Eating anybody I know? Hey, why don't you come in the bar with me? I got a friend that would love to meet you.
Donald, you've done a lot of horror and scream films. Can you tell us a little bit about the documentaries you've done, such as Who's War?
Yeah, that's our new documentary, which stars 3 leading anti-war activists. It has Jello Biafra, who's best known as the lead singer of the 80s group The Dead Kennedys. It has Mike Farrell, who played BJ on TV's MASH. And it has Keith Gordon, who's both an actor, he's the star of Stephen King's Christine, and he's also a director. He directed the Kurt Vonnegut film Mother Night, and he also directs the TV show House and Showtime's show Dexter. So we have all 3 of them together, and it's basically a movie where we let them take center stage, because they're all far more articulate than I am, and so I just step back, let them take the spotlight, and they sort of analyze the Iraq involvement from the very beginning. They analyze the motives, consequences, what they think are the prices to be paid, and they give it a very thorough looking over, and so it's designed to be a really thought-provoking piece. It's something totally different from what I've normally done, but I'd done one documentary before that several years ago, and so I thought I'd like to do this again. And so we contacted these gentlemen, and we were really happy that they all agreed to take part.
So we're with one of the lead actresses from Dorm of the Dead, Jackey Hall. Jackey, welcome. Thank you for coming here today with us.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. I want to start off by just asking a little bit of your experience. Like, how long have you been acting, and how did you get into it?
Well, I actually started acting when I was really young, just by doing like goofy films at home. And whenever I got into middle school, it got really bad. We dressed up as like crazy characters with hillbilly teeth and crazy makeup. Looks nothing like me. I should have brought some pictures. But we would make crazy videos, and then I got into high school and I got into drama, and I did a couple of plays. I never did really like the high school play. I was kind of shy. I grew out of that real fast though.
Right.
And then about my 11th, 12th grade year, I really got into modeling, and then I met my first director that I worked with, and Donnie Magnus, and I started filming with him with the movie It Feeds. I think they've changed the name of it now. It's not through filming yet. But if you go to trickshowstudios.com, you can see a clip of that. And so then I met with Donald. He came out to interview me on the set of It Feeds, and me and him immediately clicked and got along really good. And so he invited me out to do Dorm of the Dead, and it took us about 6 months to film it, and we got along real well, so now we're still working together.
Oh, that's great. So are there any roles that you would say you're looking to accomplish and put on your resume? Anything you ever wanted to do?
Like big roles.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to be in definitely a bigger movie. You know, you got to start little and work your way up.
Right.
But
you've been doing like horror. So is there any maybe like murder mysteries or comedy?
Sure.
Anything you're looking to
I would
expand
definitely
on?
love to do comedy.
Okay.
I hear it's very hard to do, but I don't think I'd have a problem doing it. It'd definitely be a challenge, and I like challenges.
So tell us a little bit about your role in Dorm of the Dead.
Oh, let's see. I play a very mean girl.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of like the high school beauty queen, and the two girls that I really go after and hate, they're goth. They're like the little goth chicks, and I think they've done something wrong to me, so I go out picking on them, and I just up and decide one day I'm going to turn one of them into a zombie. So I actually sneak into her dormitory in the middle of the night after I have stolen blood out of the professor's room at the college, and I pour zombie blood down her throat and turn her into a zombie.
Evil.
Yeah, so I got her back.
That's funny. So do you think that you would be like to known one day as the Scream Queen?
I never really thought about it before. There's definitely some big names out there that have the name Scream Queen, so I don't guess I would mind having that name. I guess it's a pretty good known name to be a Scream Queen. Sounds kind of goofy, like the Scream Queen, but I guess since there's some pretty good big names out there, like definitely, yeah, be a good name to be known as.
Mm-hmm. So is there a major goal that you have, maybe in acting, that you're looking to accomplish?
Just to get my name out there more, more and more films, even more low-budget films. I don't care, whatever it is.
Right.
You know, just get my name and push it out there as much as possible and try to accomplish my goals.
Right, because you never know what it's going to lead to.
You never know. You never know who you're going to run across.
So what are some other projects that you're working on?
We are about to start working on a new movie with Donald also, and it's called Dead Babysitters. And it's going to be based around this babysitter, and the little boy turns into a zombie, and I've got to babysit him.
Oh, no, that's scary.
I'm going to be the star of it, and like the mother's got to go to the hospital or something because she's in such a wreck because the boy had gotten bitten, and so I get to babysit the kid, and it all turns into a big disaster.
So you've been in some pretty like scary films. Would you say that you get scared maybe while you're making the movie, or afterwards you're having nightmares or anything? How do you handle doing horror films?
Never. Being on the set of a horror film is very fun. It's really goofy.
Okay.
Behind the scenes, you just have to see it. It's really fun. Just goofing around, be like, I'm dead, you know? And then it's like action, and you're like really, you know, acting like you're dead and stuff. It's really fun.
So how does it feel when you are done with the film and then you go back and look at your work?
It's really like, I need to work on that. That's what I thought the first time I saw it. I was like, we cannot put this out there, you know? But everybody else is like, no, it's great. But like, I'm such a big critic on like perfection. I'm like, no, like, got to get it right. So I try to watch myself over and over, and I like look at myself in the mirror, and I'll like be going over my lines, like, should have did it that way.
Well, you can't be too critical of yourself though all the time, but your films look really good. I saw a little sneak peek of a clip, and it looks awesome.
Well,
you did a great job.
You should watch it. It's a really good movie. Everybody should watch it.
Sounds
Definitely.
Good. Well, we appreciate you for coming. Thank you, Jackey.
Thank you
it was
very
so great
much.
talking to
We'd
you.
like to thank our guests, Pastor Teresa Jordan, Minister Regina Ragsdale, Donald Farmer, and Jackey Hall for appearing on our show. And we'd also like to thank you, the viewers, for joining us. So be sure to tune in next time for another episode of Ruel Hollywood.